All right, we should be live. Let me just put a shout out. Can you guys hear me loud and clear? If you can, please put a comment, put a note in so I know you've got it. Looks like my messaging is working. Looks like we got a bunch of people here. Appreciate you being here. Please put a comment in. You can hear me loud and clear. Be really helpful so I know all this technology around me is actually working properly. So how's everybody doing? Thanks for being here today. Excited for you to be here. Looks like we got a bunch coming on. It's just skyrocketing here at the moment. So this is a topic that can really change things for real estate investors. This is called absentee owners and how to find them in your specific area. We're going to deep dive, show you exactly how to do this, the tricks and tips that will make it more successful. So Mark, thanks for the shout out. Sounds good. I appreciate you being here today and that you can hear me loud and clear. Now I can get rocking and rolling. So what you're going to learn today, by the end of today, when you have spent your time here, thanks Thomas, glad you can hear me. You're going to learn what absentee owners are and why it's the key to investing. How many of you have heard of absentee owners? If you have, put a shout out. Maybe the others better. If you haven't heard of absentee owners, why don't you put it in here saying, I have no idea, because we're going to walk into that. We're going to also talk about how easy it is to find absentee owners. Where you're going to be able to walk away to know how easy to get them to call you, how to get absentee owners to actually call you, and why they are such great deals, why absentee owners are just such great deals, and why you need to take advantage of them. So again, if you're not familiar with absentee owners, please put it in here. Jason, appreciate the shout out from Baltimore. This is for entertainment purposes. Before you make financial moves, consult real estate professionals, attorneys, CPAs, other professionals, experts on the subject matter. Everybody's situation is different. There's no one size fits all. There's no guarantee that anything will work. DHM may receive payment, sponsorships, forms of books, giveaways, discounts, or other remunerations. As with anything, life comes from education, following a system, hard work, and determined to follow through to the end. Hearing you great on Facebook. Awesome. Glad you're there. Review of last week. Let's talk about it. If you weren't with us last week, you're going to want to check this out. This was all about BRRRR, which is buy, rehab, rent, and refinance. And so some things you missed is how to turn a standard fix and flip into a long-term cash flowing property. Buying BRRRR deals by leveraging other people's capital so you can get into them with little to no money. How to navigate the process of finding a renter, renovating, and securing new funding. When you should do, when you should do to find a BRRRR instead of a fix and flip. When should you do a BRRRR instead of finding a fix and flip? We talked about that, and how to save thousands of dollars in taxes. If you were here last week, shout out. Let me know you were here last week and you enjoyed the BRRRR. Just put BRRRR in the subject line here in the chat. I'd appreciate it to know that you enjoyed last week. Okay, let's give a quick welcome. If you're joining me live, please follow the same example that you just saw from Jason Green from Baltimore. Give me your first name and where you're investing, state, city you're investing. It'll help me as I do some of the demonstrations and things we're going to do today. So SNCO, Streeter, Atlanta. Appreciate you being here. If you're watching this recording, please join us live Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The great thing about that is you can ask me questions real time, just like we're getting some comments here from Mark and Thomas and Jason and SNCO Streeter. Is that your name? I want to say it right. So, and then I want you to get all you can out of these live casts. I want to determine next week's topics based upon them, and I'm going to do shout outs. Sorry if I get your name wrong, but it looks like we've got Turtle in Sacramento, California. Turtle, thanks for being here, man. Appreciate it. I take questions and build trainings around what we have, so please. And also, just thanks for your comments. Please keep them coming. After this actually posts, if you go on YouTube and put some comments on there, it means the world to me. I love getting them. So here's a few comments that I've gotten. So just go, once it actually goes live on YouTube, then you can just search this and then go put some comments in, which is awesome. So Edward, if you're here, please give a shout out here. Do Hard Money member from Georgia. Thanks, Edward. Appreciate you being a member. Arginus would like to know more about auctions, so appreciate you being here. Mark Holmes, who I think is Mark here today. No, it's Mark Hansen, not Mark Holmes, in Citrus County, Florida. Mark, thanks for being here. If you're here today, please give us a shout out. Antonio Santos, Tony from Philly. Tony, if you're in the house, please tell us. Carissa, love it. This is from last week. Carissa, please, if you're here, let us know. Top Real Estate Kid, great video, and many more. So check out the live cast. Let me do a couple of shout outs here. We've got Thomas Walsh from Houston, Texas. Thomas, thanks for being here, man. Thule from Ohio and New Jersey. So investing in both, I like it. Walter from Chicago. And we've got Xavier from Atlanta, Georgia. Please keep the shout outs coming. If you're listening live, let me know where you're at. And if you made some comments last week, please raise your hand. Let yourself know. If you like these live casts and you want to see them continue, as you know, my goal last month was to get to 4,000 subscribers. And what are we, the second of the next month? So we ended up at 3,980. I was 20 short of the goal of getting 4,000 by the end of last month. So you can see I'm crying a little bit here. So we were 100 short. We started this the 15th, the middle of last month. We started this, and I was 100 short when we started. So please, if you're not a DHM subscriber, please go to YouTube channel right now and just click Do Hard Money and hit the subscribe button. It's how we can make these videos and make these things possible. Leave a comment as well on the recording video, just like the guys before that we were talking about. And please, please, please give me thumbs ups. I hate it. I've gotten 2 thumbs down in my life. I've recorded 255 videos. I'm currently at 2 thumbs down, and it really upsets me to get a thumbs down. So please smash that thumbs up button. It means a lot to me. Also, tell somebody else about the video. We really, if you're willing to help me out, please type 20 more to go, because I really want to hit that 4,000. Even if I hit it late, I want to hit it. So if you're willing to do one of these things, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, give a thumbs up, tell somebody else about it, please type in 20 more to go right here in the chat so I can see your support and see that you're going to help us out in making that possible. Please do that. It means a lot to me. So type in 20 more to go if you're willing to help out with one of these. Okay, thumbs up. I got my second thumbs down of all time. I put my heart and soul into these live casts, so please give me some extra thumbs up this week. I need the confidence boost. It means a lot. So, okay, 20 more to go. Turtle, thanks, man. Appreciate it. COVID-19 updates. I want to give you just a quick update on some things we're seeing, something that's happening. This is the daily infection rates. Don't worry, this solid blue line holding up, that's available testing, so don't get too concerned about that. This is the prediction for infections going down. You can still see here, it looks like it keeps going down by the end of August here. So very low in July. We've seen a little bit of an uptick in a lot of areas. I think that is I think that's to be expected as we've started to open up cities and counties and states again. So you're seeing a little bit of an uptick, but it still looks like it's moving in the right direction. Hospitals, again, are kind of our leading indicator. Appreciate just submitted from... Just subscribed. All right. Ahead Marketing. Appreciate your subscription at Pittsburgh, PA. We had a guy from Scranton, and I actually watched The Office last night because I was hoping you'd be in here. So if you're from Scranton, give me a shout out. Mark Hansen, 20 more to go. Thanks, Mark. Appreciate your support. United States hospital uses, it kind of follows the same. So you're seeing this is the hospital uses. This is where it was. This is what we're getting down to. And you're seeing June and July. August, you're seeing hospital uses that are coming in right there. So it kind of follows the same. The deaths per day, we're seeing that trend down. Obviously, this takes a little longer, so you've got to be careful of seeing that's coming as well. Jason Shelton from outside Memphis, Tennessee. Thanks for being here. Thanks for the shout out. John Ritz from New Jersey. If you're here, please make yourself known. I did this just for you because you were on last week. Daily infections and testings graph for New Jersey. So this is the testing here. This is the daily infections. It looks like by July 1st, you guys are going to be pretty much the infection rate is down to very, very, very little. So the measure of new policy tests. So John, that's really good news for New Jersey. And then here, hospital resources, you can see the hospital resources. The need is coming down quite a bit. So really good to see that. LaDonna Webb. LaDonna, if you're here, please say hello. I do this for you as well. This is available tests again. And this next one is actually infection infections, which looks like by July 1st, you guys are going to be looking pretty good by July 1st. And this is the same thing. This is hospital resources. This is available. This line up here at the top, that's how many is available. And this is how much is actually being used. So it gets really flat. It's really, really low. Maurice Smith from Illinois. Who else was here from Illinois? Walters from Illinois that's here. Who else said they were from Illinois? I think he's the only one here. Maurice, if you're here, let me know. But this is, again, testing. This is what it's looking like for the graph. So it's looking pretty good by July. Now, again, this is a forecast. Well, you've got actual until today, and then you've got kind of forecast. So, and then Maurice, also in Illinois, hospital resources. Again, this is available beds all the way up here. This is hospital resources looking by maybe a little after the second week or first week in July. It's what it's looking like. So that's obviously really, really good thing it's looking at. Thule from Ohio, who I think, were you here? I don't know. Daily infections and testing graph. So this is the available testing. You can see it went down and that's shooting back up. And this is the infection. Again, looks like maybe the second week here in July. Things are looking really, really good. Naveed, thanks for being here, man. And it looks like I missed somebody. Robert Simmons, keep them coming. I appreciate it. Hope you're enjoying them. This is also Thule from Ohio. Hospital resources shows available beds needed. This is how many. You're seeing a trend here, right? Like everything we're seeing, there's more beds than there's necessary. You're seeing the trend come back down. Looking good, which is really important. Oh, good. You're here. I appreciate it. Okay, most states, June 1st, things get very low. July 1st, minimal or almost over. And August 1st, it gets down to about nothing. There are going to be deaths after that point as lagging indicator. So as long as we're not seeing that, continue or a second wave, that's the thing to look out for. So looking good on that. Chicago business reports. Who is from Chicago? Robert, keep it coming. Thanks, Robert. And then we also had somebody else from Chicago. Walter from Chicago's here. So Illinois governor, we've seemed to have come off the peak. Great news about the pandemic. So opening up phases. Merrick Pharmaceuticals have vaccination plans. They're one of the biggest players right now, and they're working on their vaccination plans, which is interesting. I saw this out there, and I just had to give a shout out. A 103-year-old woman celebrates the coronavirus recovery. She got over it with a cold beer, which I thought was really hilarious. But a 103-year-old woman overcame the virus. Rolling death rates. This is something, as Nate Silver pointed out on Tuesday, the 7-day rolling average deaths went from 1,362 to 1,761. So, but the peak was 2070. So we're seeing that that's happening. The other thing, New York Times is reporting the shutdown. The only state they're saying is shut down right now is New Jersey. Just as of a few days ago, with a lot closed down. And states that reopened were Delaware, Illinois, which is really cool. Partial shutdowns, partial reopenings. Washington did a partial reopening. Oregon did a partial. California's got a partial reopening. Illinois partial reopening. Michigan, Tennessee, New York, Pennsylvania. So a lot of great stuff that's happening as far as the reopening. Okay, Robert, keep them coming. Illinois got it. Oh, we talked about that. Okay, yeah, if you've got questions, if this information's been helpful on the COVID, please put in, this helps, or the COVID info was helpful. Really, it's what you're going to need as a real estate investor and how you can plan for that. I think understanding what's going on and not just being scared by the media is important when it comes to investing of any type. Okay, let me grab a drink, and then we're going to talk some housing and how this is affecting housing. So again, if this COVID information was helpful, please type in the comments. The COVID news was helpful. Then I'll get an idea of where we're standing. Okay, let's talk housing. With housing, Yahoo Finance, U.S. home prices growth picked up in March despite COVID-19. So in the middle of the COVID's worst, which was March, we're seeing that housing picked up, which is really cool. And Standard & Poor's said Tuesday that its S&P CoreLogic Case-Shiller National Home Price Index posted a 4.4% annual gain in March, and that's up 4.2% from the month before. Awesome. Oh, Ryan, we just hit 3,990. Oh, we only have 10 more subscriptions to go, guys. Let's grab 10 more subscriptions. I need 10 more of you to subscribe so we can hit it. We're getting there. Great, Mark. COVID news was helpful. Appreciate it. Bloomberg talked about the 20-city composite posted a 3.9% annual gain, which is up 3.5% from February. And you're going to say, Ryan, why are we talking about March? Here we are in June. The issue is that the reporting data takes some time. But it's interesting to see that in March we actually had the estimates. We were better than what it was the month before in February, which is really interesting. I think the most important thing with that is just some confidence in real estate as a whole. The 20-city composite really represented 19 cities because there were more delays in some of the reporting. So the S&P Downs indicates house prices continue to be remarkably stable, said Craig L. Jazar, managing director of the global head of index investment strategy, S&P Dow. So median price home, this is also reported by Yahoo Finance. Meanwhile, the median existing home price in April was $286,800, which was up 7.4% from April of 2019. And we're seeing prices increase in every region. So I think it's interesting to be aware of. Economic lockdown impact. The economic lockdown occurred from mid-March through April, and most states have temporarily disrupted home sales, says Lawrence Hune, NAR's chief economist, in press statement. But the listings that are on the market are still attracting buyers and boosting home prices. So basically what we're seeing is prices are continuing to go up, not as much as they were before, and we're having a little less inventory on the market, and we're going to have a little bit less transactions, probably 10 or 15%, which I'll show you here in just a minute. I thought this was really interesting. This is the real GDP, B of A new forecast, and B of A old forecast. So if you can look, we're somewhere in here. This is kind of the recovery phase. So this was their old forecast. This is their new forecast. And this is the real GDP here. So we're seeing some things, we're starting to see ourselves out of this. And then 2021, you can see what the predictions are looking like in that recovery phase, which is really, really interesting. Okay, the bounce. During the transition phase, the bounce we're going to see in the economic activity after a springtime collapse is now expected to be stronger than previously forecasted. So the whole idea is this springtime buying season just got delayed a couple of months. And what Yahoo Finance is actually reporting by Miles is saying it's actually stronger than what they previously forecasted is what they're seeing happen here. So that's actually really good news for us. And Forbes talks about the new home starts. There's going to be 11% decline in new home starts is what they're predicting. And keep in mind, I believe most of these are going to be in your higher end houses. So, you're not going to see that big of an impact in more your entry level. It's going to be more of your higher end is probably one of the big things I think you're going to be seeing. Mark Hansen, COVID in news is very helpful. Good, Mark. Really appreciate you letting me know that. Robert Simmons, COVID news is helpful. Tinley Park, Illinois. Great. I'm glad. That's the whole reason we do it. We want to replace fear with facts. So we actually know what's going on, which allows us as investors to take advantage of the situation when other people may be holding off. 2020 home sales, original pre-COVID forecast showed a 1.8% decline in home sales. So we're already going into 2020 saying there's going to be less home sales than there was the prior year, 2019. That's number of transactions. So the new forecast shows 15%. So it's 13% less than what was originally expected. And sales of homes fall 15%. So that's basically what we're looking at in fewer transactions, but prices remaining really stable. One issue buyers will face in these markets is inventory constraints. Considering the number of homes was down 45% year over year in April. So that's one of the big things, which I think is just a big opportunity for us as real estate investors. The home sales will rebound in the late summer and fall, driving up millennials eager to own a home, which we talked about earlier, that it's actually becoming bigger than what they actually anticipated, which is great. So Realtor.com is anticipating 4.5 million sales this year compared to the 5.34, which basically gives you that down 15% from what they were thinking. And the real question here is how to be part of the 4.5 million homes that do sell. How can we be part of those homes? So Kenny, can I get info on your company? Yeah, absolutely, Kenny. Just check us out over at dohardmoney.com. I'll type it in here so you've got it. and you can give us a call and see if we are fit. Median price ranges. The median price range for an existing home is expected to hold steady, rising by just 1.1% in 2020 over the previous year. And I actually think it's going to be a little bit better than that with some of the housing shortages. And no, keep in mind, real estate is all relative based upon areas, so you've got to be prepared for that. So keep that in mind as well. 2020 housing predictions. Home prices will flatten with a forecast increase of only 1.1%, but keep in mind that's an increase, not a decrease. Inventory will remain low, but the rate of decline steadily with the mix of homes shifts towards greater availability of lower priced homes. Mortgage rates will remain low and may slide under 3%. We're seeing it go even less than that. Home sales constrained by low inventory diminishes seller and buyer confidence as the effect of COVID linger in the labor market, and buyers seeking affordable space driving interest in the suburbs. Those are some things we're looking at. Okay, consumer confidence. We talked about this last week. I just want to shout it out again. On the brighter side, consumer expectations for the future have not dropped as much as their assessment of current conditions, suggesting that the expected economy will bounce back from the virus shutdowns. Okay, so what does this all mean? Okay, what does it all mean? We're going to see some more opportunities. So you got to make sure you're buying a really, really good deal. Especially right now. You may have to hold it a little bit longer, and you may not because there's not a lot of houses on the market. And on the resale, you must be the best priced home in the best condition. Those homes always sell no matter what the market is doing. So the key is buying right so you can afford to be the best priced home in the best condition, and then you're going to sell that property. So in the end, real estate, there's always money to be made. There's always money in every single market. You just have to find the correct niche. You got to find where that niche is. So let's just run through a few coveting investing rules. But before I do that, if this real estate portion of what's going on was helpful to you, please type it in the comments saying the real estate news was helpful. Give me some feedback on it if it's going to help you in some of your real estate investing. So COVID investing rules: find really, really good deals. Stay under the FHA loan limits. If you don't know what those are, just do a Google search, FHA loan limits for my county. Type in your county there. You'll get an idea what it is. Also look at the median and the average, so you can type that in. If you've got Investor's Edge software, it'll tell you those things so you don't have to go searching. Look at moving outside expensive areas, more to the suburbs. Find the worst home in the best area and make it the best. Those are the things that you can do. And right now, there's 10 things we can do for profit. So Thule, very helpful. Appreciate it. Go make offers, negotiate hard right now. Many sellers are willing to take discounts. Get long closing timeframes, 30 to 90 day closings. Get long earnest monies, 30 to 80 days earnest money. Improve your craft. Use the trainings that we offer. Value the property. Find the properties. Rehab bids. Wholesale. Partnerships. Those are all things that we have for members, so go ahead and take a look at that. Attend our weekly livecast, Tuesdays, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Find a credit partner with cash, credit, or both. Take advantage of the 0% money. If you haven't seen our live cast on that, go check it out. MLS Sniper, take a look at MLS Sniper. We have a live cast on that, and then use of seller financing. And then lastly, prepare yourself for cash flowing properties, cash flowing acquisitions. These are 10 things you can do right now in this market to take advantage of what's happening in the market today. Okay, we got a few shout outs here. Okay, Turtle info was great, wonderful. I cannot say your name. I'm really sorry. Real estate information news was great, fantastic. Glad it was helpful. If anything else was helpful on this, please let me know. I appreciate the support on that. And we're going to jump into the main event here, which is all absentee owners. But let me get a drink. Okay, while I'm going through this, if you have questions, please feel free to shout them out. We're going to get them answered along the way. Okay, absentee owners in my area. We're going to cover all about absentee owners, and what you're going to learn in Walking Away today is what absentee owners are and why it's the key to real estate investing. Yes, I said key. How to easily find absentee owners, how to easily get them to call you, why absentee owners are such a great deal. So first off, let's just kind of start with this. What is absentee owners? So it's someone who owns the property but does not live in the property. So they own it, but they don't live there. That's what an absentee owner really is. So there's a few different types of absentee owners. There's people that are landlords. They bought the property to rent it out. There's people that bought it as a second home or a vacation home. There's people that bought it for some sort of an investment. Maybe it was going to go up in value or speculatory. Somebody that inherited a property. They got it through a will or through probate that they inherited this property. They purchased it for a family member to rent it out. So maybe they had a son or daughter that's going to college. They live in a different state and said, I'll buy a place so my son or daughter can go to college there. So that could be happening. Somebody had a job transfer. They moved, but they still own a home, but they live in a different state or city. It can be corporations, LLC, or individual owners. Any of these can be an absentee owner. So these are the different types of absentee owners that are out there. So the question really is, why in the heck should you care? And this can meet the criteria we are looking for in finding properties, because this is what we're always looking for. We're looking for motivation. Many of these people can be motivated. They bought a house and their tenants trashed it. They bought a house, their daughter went to school and then she came home. They've got a property that they owned because they moved and now they've got to get rid of it. The other thing that we're always looking for is equity. And as you know, if you've been following, using Investor's Edge is how you can determine that equity really easily. So why can absentee owners be motivated? Well, the answer is they're not all motivated. It's really important to realize that. Some are motivated now, some will be motivated in the future, and many will not be motivated to sell at all. So let's talk a little bit about some of these absentee owner scenarios. So this is probably the most likely is a burnt out landlord. The tenant left in the middle of the night. The tenant did damage to the property. The owner is sick and tired. Let's say this is his second tenant or his third tenant. He's tired of being a landlord, doesn't want to be in the landlord business anymore, does not have or want to dump more cash into the property. I don't want to spend more money in repairs. He's happy to take what equity he has and or take a loss for a tax write-off, meaning lots of times with landlords are putting 20% down, so he may be able to just walk away from the property and lose some of the money he put down, but take that as a tax write-off and decide not to be a landlord. Most burnout landlords, they don't know how to be a landlord, but you contact him on the day all this happens. You get him the next day after the guy moves out. So that's a great opportunity. So as long as you have equity and he's got the motivation, you're in good shape. Okay, the next one I'm going to talk about is inherited properties or probate. So an inherited property is you inherit a property through a will, meaning grandpa dies and grandpa says, I'm going to give this property to Billy, Susie, and Jean, which is a problem because Billy Jr. and Sean, let's say, they're all mad at each other, all ticked off, so they have a problem which we can help them solve. So somebody passes away, they left the property. Here's another example. They leave it to the oldest son, for example. But the son is reluctant, is going to have to sell the property and divide the funds between siblings. What happens a lot of times, it goes to everybody or it goes to one person. That one person may want to keep it, but everybody else wants to sell it. More than likely, probate properties get sold. Even if somebody in the family wants to keep it, they usually don't have enough money to do it. And most of these properties need some type of a work. So they're overwhelmed because the home's in bad condition. Dad used baling wire to hold the house together. You get in contact with him. That's an absentee owner. Purchased home for a family member. Dad purchased a home or a condo for his daughter to live in. When she went to college, he bought a great deal. He lives out of state. Daughter's done with college or she moved home. The daughter roommates were rough on the condo. You contact them and he says, sure, I will sell. So there's all these different scenarios where somebody's got a property that they're going to have unwanted, even if they do want it in the type of situation with an inherited or a will type situation, they're not able to keep it because all the other family members are wanting it sold and want their cash out of it. So absentee owner action items. Create a list. First, you'll create a list of absentee owners where you'd like to invest, meaning this is the city, the zip code, or the county. So we do it in Investor's Edge, we do it by county, we do it by zip code. So how can you get an absentee owner's data? So you can go to the tax records, and basically the question is does the tax notice or the tax bill go to the property itself or to a different address? If it goes to a different address, then it's an absentee owner, meaning the tax record is going somewhere other than the property that the tax notice is for. So if the notice goes to a different address, it's an absentee owner. So there's two ways to get this data. You can go down to your county recorders, you can wait in line, you can go through the documents. Some of them you actually don't even have computer systems. You have to go through the papers. Or you can use Investor's Edge. We have preset filters that will do all the searching for you so you can get it in the click of a button. So Investor's Edge, once you log on to Investor's Edge, you can type in the zip code or the full county with the state. We have two preset filters. One is out-of-state owners and one is non-owner occupied. So basically, we've divided out absentee owners into owners that live within the state but not in the property. Those are called non-owner occupieds, meaning they live in the same state where the property is located, but don't live in the property. So the tax bill is going somewhere else, but it's not going outside the state that the property is located. Out-of-state owners means that tax bill is going to a different state than where the property is actually located. So we've separated those two. For marketing purposes, it can be really good to know the difference and have a different message. But wait, remember, we want motivation. So how do we know these guys actually have motivation? So equity. In Investor's Edge, you can do this as well. So in Investor's Edge, we determine how much equity they actually have by setting a filter. So Investor's Edge, our out-of-state filter is non-owner occupieds. We do residential properties. We do single-family condos or townhomes, $500,000 or less, 30% or more in equity, okay? So we're going to do this live, and if you want to give me a zip code, it's got to be a decent-sized zip code, but if you want to type in a zip code of where you're investing into the notes, we'll take a look at it. Investor's Edge, owner-occupied filter. So non-owner-occupied, it's residential properties, single-family, condo, townhouse, $500,000 or less. 30% or more in equity is what we're looking for there. So most investors market to all absentee owners. The reason is they don't have a way to get the equity data. They're wasting a ton of time with postcards and phone calls and those types of things that they shouldn't be doing. So Investor's Edge, you know the equity, and how do we estimate the value when we do that? So we use what's called an AVM, which is an automated value management system. So we use similar solds and we come up with an estimated value. Is this value correct? Absolutely not. But what it does do is give you an idea if you should spend time and money marketing to that. That's really what that estimated value does. So how does Investor's Edge know the equity to estimate what's owed? So when we have a database and we put interest rates, average interest rates by year, and then we take the interest rate and when they got the loan, and we do what's called a reverse amortization. So we backwards it to determine how much we think they may have owed. And the estimated value minus the estimated amount owed equals the amount of equity. So is this perfect? No, it's absolutely not perfect, but I would rather get close and focus my efforts on some of these properties that have equity and motivation than I would not looking at equity at all, especially if you have more of a limited investing budget. So let's talk about a few ways to contact absentee owners. We can do a postcard or a mailer. We can do a voice broadcast. We can just call them directly. We can do a text message to them. So in Investor's Edge, you can save your entire list in the system, and then you can actually just do a mailing. The public information gives us so it's public information. Where the tax bill gets sent is public information. You can find that for any property. So if the property address is not where the tax bill gets sent, it gets sent somewhere else. That is public information, and you get a copy of that. And that's already into Investor's Edge. And you can create a list and mail a postcard or mailer to them. So you can do that within Investor's Edge, or you can do it yourself. You can do that directly. So there's a cost of postage, there's a cost of printing. Calling, so you can just pick up the phone and you can make a call. Or you can do what's called a skip trace. So you have got to do a skip trace to make the call to them, because the phone information actually you have to do a skip trace to get it. So what is a skip trace? Okay. The computer gathers public information and matches it to different phone numbers. And skip tracing is typically used by creditors trying to find debtors, someone that owes them money. So there's a small cost to this. You only pay if the skip tracing service can actually get you a phone number. And not all phone numbers are correct. It's going to give you the last known phone number, but it's like 15 cents or something per phone number. So how to actually call. You can pick up the call and call one by one. Or you can record a message and then upload it. You can hit a button and and the phone won't ring at all on who you're calling. It'll just leave a voicemail. That's called a voice broadcast, a ringless voicemail, one of those two. There's a minimal cost for this as well, but it can save you a ton of time. So let's just jump into Investor's Edge real quick, because I want to show you a couple of things that we can do within Investor's Edge itself. So hopefully I don't have to log back in here on my credentials. Okay, great. I'm just going to choose a random zip code here. Let's go 43537. Hopefully I typed that. That's in Ohio. Fantastic. So let's just take a look at this is going to do all the filters. So for this zip code, if you did a county, it's going to be a lot more. So there are 46 out-of-state owners. And if you remember, when we talked about the out-of-state owners, let's just back up here. There's a couple of things we talked about when we talked about out-of-state owners. Out-of-state owner filter. Here we go. With the out-of-state owners, we're looking at several things. We're looking at, these are not owner-occupied. They're residential homes. They're single family condo twin homes, so they're not including land or anything else like it. Under $500,000, 30% more in equity. So these are not just the out-of-state owners or non-owner-occupieds or absentee owners. These are absentee owners with 30% or more of equity. So if I jump back here to my search, what we're basically saying is there's 46 people that live outside of the state that have 30% more of equity, 30% or more of equity. I can click on this and I can actually get a list of all of these people. It's just going to load here. It's going to take just a minute, but it's going to give me a list of all 46 of those. So here's all 46 of the properties, and I can then create a list by creating a list, and I can add this to a list or create a brand new list. I can then skip trace, I can then voice broadcast, or any of those things. The other thing is there's 668 non-owner occupieds that have 30% or more of equity, right? So I can add this to a list. That's not the one. I can come over here to the 668 and I can create a list for those, which I can show you here in just a minute. So if I clicked all these unique properties and I add them to a list, or I could create a new list, and we'll just call this a demo list and just hit save. Then all of the contact information for these is ready to go. Now, what you can do with this automatically is the mailing address is right here. See, notice this mailing address is not the property address. That's how we know it's an absentee. It's 3851 Timber Valley, and this one's 19 Homestead, right? So we know that this person does not live in the property, and funny enough, this is a little LLC, so it might be an investment. I don't know. The property's not listed on the market. This property we think is worth about $93,000. Last year's value is $126, so somewhere in between those two. But what we believe we believe there's $93,000 of equity, and this property would rent for about $1,000. Is basically what we're looking at. So we've got our stats. We know what's going on this property. We know the estimated. The estimated value is 93, and last year's value is 126. We've got some comparables in the area and that type of stuff. So we've got all the information right here. So that we can do it, and we even can tell you the mortgage information. So the last sale was actually a cash transaction for $83,000. Tax information here. So this is probably a landlord. I don't know. We can do some more due diligence, but it's all here. So the important thing is you can then create this list. Once you save that list, then you can come here and do a skip trace. This is current costing for skip tracing, and you can select the contacts by doing that. You hit the button, and it'll charge you for whatever skip trace is actually able to do. And then you can come here to campaigns. You can click postcards, and you don't need to do skip tracing to do postcards. You decide which postcards you want. Let's start with a blank one. So I can do that, or I can come back and postcards, and let's do I clicked the wrong button. Let's do a pre-designed postcard. With the pre-design, we have a whole list of postcards that can work for you. Start with pre-design next. That's what I wanted. So here's all these different postcards that are already in here. The artwork's done. You don't have to hire a graphics designer or worry about any of that. You can find ones that you want. If you have one you like, you can start from scratch. But houses wanted. Let's just look at this one. And then what it will do, I can come in and edit or change stuff, and it will automatically put their information in here to do the mailer. I can hit the button. It'll then print it. It'll mail them. I don't even have to get out of my seat. Or I can come back here to campaigns and I can do voice broadcast. With the voice broadcast, I just put in my caller ID information that I want them to call me back on. I recommend getting a Google phone for that. so that you don't get a bunch of calls, and you just call back the people that leave a message for you. And then you can schedule when you want it to go out and how many you want to go out per minute. I think you can go up to 30 per minute, and then calls per minute. You can adjust that and send it out, and then it does it for you. So what we're trying to do is simplify this. Again, what we're looking for is equity, and we're looking for motivation. Let's just grab another zip code just randomly here. I'm going to go 60477. So I'm just going to grab a random. And so these preset filters are all ready to go. Again, there's 1,240 people that are non-owner occupied that have 30% more of equity. There are single family houses, condos that are under $500,000. I mean, that will keep you busy for a very, very, very long time. Again, you can go call these guys directly, do a skip trace and call them. You can send a postcard to the address that's on there. You can do that just automatically, create the address, send the postcard. You can do it inside the system, or you can just do them manually if you want to do that as well. So that's the power of knowledge. Let's just grab, I don't know, we'll just grab one of these at random. So there's 260,000 of equity. It was worth about 219 last year. You've got the bedrooms and bathrooms, all that type of stuff. And you can see, hey, what's the mailing address? 162nd. It looks like on this one, we've got a mistake on it, because it looks like, let's grab this next one here. And that's going to happen. Nothing is perfect. It's just one of those things where, let's see, did I even click on... Let's try this out as state owner. Okay, yeah, so Maryland Drive, and the address here is Moreland Avenue. So I may have a filter wrong on that one, so I'll get that adjusted. Yeah, see, here's the property address, and here's the P.O. box. So the person that owns this is actually in Dallas, Texas. Oh, the bank owns this. Wow, this would be a great property to go after. Lots of opportunities here. Was that one listed? Let's take a look. Bank owned, 10 months, it should say off market. See, this is an opportunity. This property is not on the market. It's owned by a bank. Banks don't like to own properties. This is a great opportunity for somebody to go after. And that's one of the things I think is really important is you've got to decide, you've got to find the opportunities, then you got to chase them. One of the properties that I bought, which has been a great little commercial property, actually, I chased the bank for 2 years before I bought the property. I just kept following up, kept making offers. You may have to do that, and you may find one the first day you start making calls and doing those things. So that's how you're going to find these absentee owners. That's the easy way to do that without having to go down to the county recorders and everything else. Okay, let's make sure we went through all the demos that we wanted to show here. So non-owner occupied, skip traces, ringless voicemails, creating, I didn't show on creating a website. Let me just show you that. One of the other cool things you can do in the campaigns is, you can also do email. So when you do the skip trace, you can also do email as well. And then you can create or edit a website. So I just did this for fun, but Ryan Buys Houses, you can just come in here and put Bob Buys Houses, and it'll automatically update this. So it just becomes a contact form. You can drag and drop information on here if you want to, and then you can hit a publish, and then this URL right here will actually be live. So you can put that on postcards or anything else. There's the hosting fees. You don't have to worry about that type of stuff. So it really works really, really well. Okay, next. Let's see here. We went through the live demo. We went through the non-owner occupieds. We went through the absentee owners. We went through how to do the skip trace, just the basics. We went through ringless voicemail and why that's important, how to create a website. So just a quick recap of what we've discussed today. So we've discussed what absentee owners are and why it's the key to investing, how to easily find absentee owners, how to easily get them to call you by doing the postcards, the voice broadcast, why they are such great deals, because if we can have the equity and the motivation. So those are the things that we're looking for. Okay, while we're wrapping up here, if you have questions about absentee owners, please put them in the chat. I'm watching those like a hawk, and I want to get those answered for you. While you're doing that, I want to just do a quick recap on last week. If you missed last week, it was all about BRRRR, buy, rehab, rent, and refinance. It was all about BRRRR. So you want to go back and watch the replay. It is well worth your time. Just go to YouTube and type in Do Hard Money. And when you're there, remember to subscribe to the channel as well. And please like the video. Make sure you leave comments and those things. Not seeing any any questions here on absentee owners. Just want to know, was the absentee owner helpful? Are you going to be using absentee owners to help find properties? If so, say, I'm going to use absentee owners. Yeah, Thule, can you search above $500,000? Absolutely, you can search above $500,000. You can go as high as you want. What I want to make sure is you stay in the median price range. Kind of our rules right now for COVID investing is you don't want to go over the FHA loan limits. That's why we put it at $500,000 for people. But you can search anything. Let me just show you. Really cool here. Let's just go to search. Once you have one of those searches, let's just grab another. I'm just going to grab, this is for Naveed. This is his zip code. So let's just do out-of-state owners for Naveed. And let's say you wanted to change that. You can just come down here to the filter. And let's see here, $500,000. You could just take that off and close that. And it went from 50, so it gave me 60 unique properties, right? So I just got a few more properties on there. If I come here, so I can change the filters at any time. So let's see, Thule, I'm going to be using absentee owners. Fantastic. I don't know how to say your name. Yes, I'm using it. Fantastic. Are you using it now or you're going to use it? Would be a great question that I would like to know. Okay, let's keep rocking here. We talked about that. How to save thousands. Okay, so future live cast. That's the next thing we really need to know. Mark Hansen, Absentee is one of the best sources for our business. I'm glad to hear that, Mark. That's fantastic. Future live cast, what you want to know. So wholetailing, tell me what you want to hear next time. So wholetailing, reverse wholesaling, determining repair costs, coronavirus investing, how to analyze rentals, wholesaling remotely, choosing good contractors, seller financing, contractor bids, determining rental prices, a business partner deep dive, prepare yourself to buy cash flowing investors, how to make offers without seeing properties, auction properties, closing a deal, all the players, sales skills, seller negotiating, subject to deals. Is there something else? So what would you like to know for future live casts? Please type that in the comments now. One of these things you'd like to hear, please type it in the comments. So get your free get your free script for postcard campaign here. So you can get a copy of this just right here. Let me just get you. So if you want to get a copy for the script, just go right here. This is for a yellow postcard that I really like. So if you want to get a copy of that, it's absolutely free. You don't have to pay anything or do anything. While we're doing that, please type in any of these things that you want to see for future podcasts or future live casts. Let me just, how do you get Investor's Edge? Just give us a holler or check out Do Hard Money. We can see if there's a fit there. I'm going to use it. Nice. Use the absentee owners. How do I get your program? Just give us a holler, give us a call, and we can see if we can help you out if we're a fit. Auction properties. Okay, great. We'll talk about auction properties, one of these. Contractor bidding. Yeah, that's such a big one as well. Seller financing. Okay, I've got it. Who's going to loan me $3,000? Not sure, Robert. Maybe some credit card finance. I'm not sure. There's a bunch of ways. Investing is going to take some cash. You're going to need some capital to get going. We tell people you need about $5,000 to get going for investing. But the more money, it's either time or money. If you don't have money, you've got to put in the time. And you've got to have some money to get started. It's just going to make a big difference. Mark Hansen, wholesaling remotely. Okay, got it down, Mark. If there's any others, make sure you type them in here. Okay, and any other question on absentee owners, type them in here as we're wrapping up. But make sure you go get a copy of that script for your postcard campaign. Make sure you get a copy of that, absolutely free. If you've enjoyed the live cast, tell some friends. Also, check out my podcast called Income Hacker. We do something on there on a weekly basis with different investing techniques and tips and tricks. So check out Income Hacker as well. But by the way, if you're an income hacker, please type it in the comments. I'd love to know who's a fellow income hacker and who's been listening to the podcast. Next Tuesday, same time, same place, 6 p.m. Eastern time. Type in the topics you want to hear about, and we'll be doing that same time, same place next week. And go get a copy of the free script for the postcard. Just go to dohardmoney.com/yellow-letters. Okay, is it possible to invest without credit? Yes. So ahead marketing, it really is. There's a bunch of strategies to do that. One strategy is to do wholesaling, and another strategy is to use a hard money lender where they're not credit specific. if you are getting a loan through a hard money lender, they are going to want to make sure that you don't have judgments, collections, you don't have a background or some of that type of stuff. So, that would be the issue. If you do, you're going to want to do some wholesaling. So poor credit or no business credit. Business credit's not an issue. Poor credit is as long as you don't have collections and judgments, you're going to be able to find a hard money lender that'll work with you. But you are going to have to work a little bit harder because you're going to have to find a little bit better deal than most investors would, because the financial investor, the hard money lender, is taking on a little more risk. So you're going to have to find a little bit better deal. So hope that's helpful. Mark, thanks for being here, man. Glad it was worthwhile. I really would like to understand more about your business and what you're doing there. So thanks for being with us. Any final questions? Type them in here. We're just going to wrap up. See you next Tuesday. If you've got some questions about absentee owners or anything else, please type that in here. I'm going to hang out for another minute to answer any quick questions that we may have. Appreciate you all being here. I hope this absentee owner, we do the same thing. I hope the COVID update's helpful. I hope that the real estate outlook is helpful. The topic that we talked about with absentee owners, I hope that was helpful. If so, please share it with somebody. If you have some questions, type them in here. We're going to hang out here for a minute or two, and love to know. Check out Income Hacker as well with the podcast that's there. Okay, I'm going to grab a drink, and then if I don't hear anything more, we're going to sign off. Thank you so much. Ahead Marketing, absolutely. Please join us next week. Let's keep rocking. Thanks so much. Yep, got it. All right, guys. Well, we're going to go ahead and wrap up. Thanks so much for being here today. Appreciate you being with us. I hope you enjoyed it. Please share us with some friends. Have them come take a look at it. Do Hard Money. Go over to YouTube and go to